Day of our conference, we've got something different planned. Now, as you know, we've had a number of problems in this organization. And we think a lot of them have been due to breakdowns in communication. To help us with these problems, we've been fortunate enough to get the services of Dr. Michael Conrad. Now, Dr. Conrad has made an extensive study of communication. He's been at the... But maybe I just better let him take it from here. Dr. Conrad. Thank you very much. The one thing about communicating is that everybody thinks they're good at it. If there's ever a misunderstanding, it's always the other person's fault. Something like driving a car. So today we're going to find out exactly how much we really know about this important subject, communication. And to help us, I'd like you to meet Barbara Wright. And Arthur Reed. Charlie Lewis. They'll be playing a number of roles, creating situations in which there's a breakdown in communication. We will try to figure out why the communication failed and what could have been done to improve mutual understanding. Before we begin, I think we should define exactly what communication is. Hi, Lucille, where are you from?
I'm from the Dayton, Ohio plant.
And how would you define communication?
People talking to each other, exchanging ideas.
Very good. Nick, where are your offices?
Elkhart, Indiana. And I'd say communicating is whenever you're trying to convey information to people.
All right.
Again, talking to each other.
Exchanging ideas.
Very good.
اهدى يا أخي حتى السؤال.
خلاص بس. والله من مخلصين. خلنا نعرضه مرة واحدة بعدين نشوفه ثاني مرة. ليش ما عندك الصور خلنا العيال يعرض الفيديو كامل بعدين يعيد النقاط.
غير البرنامج
لا
But maybe I just better let him take it from here. Dr. Conrad. Thank you very much. The one thing about communicating is that everybody thinks they're good at it. If there's ever a misunderstanding, it's always the other person's fault. Something like driving a car. So today we're going to find out exactly how much we really know about this important subject, communication. And to help us, I'd like you to meet Barbara Wright. And Arthur Reed. And Charlie Lewis. They'll be playing a number of roles, creating situations in which there's a breakdown in communication. We will try to figure out why the communication failed and what could have been done to improve mutual understanding. Before we begin, I think we should define exactly what communication is. Hi, Lucille, where are you from?
I'm from the Dayton, Ohio plant.
And how would you define communication?
People talking to each other, exchanging ideas.
Very good. Nick, where are your offices?
Elkhart, Indiana. And I'd say communicating is whenever you're trying to convey information to people.
All right. And how are you, Henry?
Oh, fine. I'm from Phoenix.
And what does communication mean to you?
Reading, writing, talking, listening, using the phone. It's all communication, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You're all right. It's any behavior which serves to exchange ideas, feelings, and information. Any behavior that contributes to mutual understanding is part of the communication process. And today, we're going to show you some of the common reasons why it breaks down, and ask everyone in our audience to choose from 3 ways how that breakdown could have been avoided. And because communication is the name of the game, I'd like to invite Lucille and Nick and Henry to join me on the stage as our contestants. Back to with the rest of you. What do you say? Now, this is very important to remember.
When selecting your choice, keep in mind that all of them will help improve communication skills. There are no wrong answers, but one choice gets to the core of the problem. And for picking that one, give yourself 20 points. And the person on our panel who scores the highest today will win a month of free lunches at the company cafeteria. Any questions? All right, if everyone has a pencil and paper, we'll begin. In this situation, Charles is an assistant manager in a hotel. Arthur is a desk clerk. Now, as you watch, see if you can figure out the best thing Charles could have done to communicate more clearly.
Hi, Arthur. Working on next week's confirmations?
Sure am. And there's a convention coming in, too.
Yes, I know. And that's why I think we better make a 5-day count.
A 5-day count? I've never done that before.
Oh, well, sometimes our computer has the wrong information, and we've got to double-check our bookings.
Sure. What do you want me to do?
First, you find out how many rooms are booked, occupied, and then how many will be checking out the next 5 days, and then how many will be checking in, the reservations. You add and you subtract. Do you understand?
Oh, sure.
Good, good. Look, I need it by 5, so get started on it right away. Whoop, look at the time. I'm late for a meeting. I'll check with you later.
What we have here is a failure to communicate. Arthur doesn't understand the assignment. Now, which do you think is the most important thing Charles could have done to improve communication? A, Charles should have chosen a better time and place to give the job assignment. B, Charles should have asked more probing questions to see if Arthur understood. And C, Charles should have organized his thoughts before giving the job assignment to Arthur. All right, you've got 5 seconds. Which do you think is the best choice? All right, time's up. Let's see your choices. Okay, what a way to start. Looks like we're going to have some real differences of opinion here. Henry, why did you choose A?
Well, I feel that when a person is busy or it's too noisy, there are a lot of distractions, it's very hard to concentrate. And in my opinion, Charles showed poor judgment in picking that particular time and place to try to give a complex new job assignment.
Yes, being more aware of the setting in which you communicate is very important. What about you, Lucille?
Well, Charles just asking, do you understand, isn't enough. I mean, who's going to admit they don't understand? But if he'd asked some probing questions, they could have revealed how much Arthur had caught on.
No argument with that. But Nick seems to think poor planning was the cause of the breakdown.
You bet it was. See, Charles wasn't prepared. Even if he had picked a quiet place, it wouldn't have helped. And probing questions would have only revealed that his instructions were disorganized in the first place.
All right. Remember, all 3 choices will help improve communication. But let's ask our actors to play the scene again and illustrate what would be the best choice.
Working on next week's confirmations?
Sure am. There's a convention coming in, too.
Yes, I know, and that's why I want you to make a 5-day count.
Well, I've never done that before.
Oh, I know. But you see, sometimes our computer has the wrong information, and we've got to double-check our bookings. It's very important that we keep the hotel filled, and at the same time, make sure we have rooms for people with confirmations.
Naturally. So what do you want me to do?
Well, I brought you this 5-day count that I did last month, and I've listed the steps here. Now, the first thing you must do is determine how many rooms are occupied today. The second thing is to deduct how many are scheduled to check out tomorrow, and then add to that the number that will be checking in. Now, you must also be sure to record how long each new guest will be staying here in this column. Now, if you go through this process for a 5-day period, that should tell us approximately how many rooms we'll have available 5 days from now. So get started on it right away, will you? Unfortunately, I have to go to a meeting, but I know you'll have some questions, and I'll go over them with you as soon as I get back to you. Okay?
أتوقع إن كلنا ما كتبوا نفس الشيء.
The correct answer then is C. Charles should have organized his thoughts before giving the job assignment to Arthur. Regardless of what you're trying to communicate, when it's important, unless you begin by setting your objectives, organizing your thoughts ahead of time, laying out a logical sequence, and planning what you want to say, you run a very big risk your message will be misunderstood. So, if you picked C, give yourself 20 points. The scene now switches to a factory. Barbara works as a supervisor in assembly. Arthur is a manager in the front office. He's about to call her on the phone. Now see if you can figure out the best method in this situation for Arthur to get his ideas across.
Hello?
It's Arthur. You got a minute?
Oh, as usual, I'm up to my neck, but what's up?
Well, I was just following up to see if you put through those changes that were agreed to at the staff meeting.
I'm trying, but I'm afraid that my people aren't going to go for it.
But it makes sense. By redesigning the workflow, their jobs will be much easier.
But you don't have to deal with these people every day. I do.
Maybe I can help. Let me explain. Now, since the meeting, I've been working on this. Now, if you think about all the new job responsibilities your unit has taken on, coupled with the high degree of turnover you've had in the second and third quarters, you'd realize how important these new changes are.
Look, Arthur, I've heard all of this before. Arthur? Hello? You still there?
Look, this is very important. Now, if this thing isn't resolved right now, there could be a work stoppage.
What do you suggest?
Again, communication has broken down. Arthur realizes he's not getting through to Barbara. Now, this is a complex matter. The stakes are high. What would you suggest he do? A. Arthur should call Barbara later and explain in more detail why the changes are necessary. B. Arthur should meet with Barbara face-to-face. C. Arthur should send Barbara a written memo summarizing all the data. Which do you think is the best choice?
B. Arthur should meet Barbara face-to-face.
All right, let's see your choice. Well, that's interesting. Doesn't anyone like to use a telephone?
Oh, sure, it can be a great time saver, but the more complex the information that has to be communicated, the longer it takes and the harder it is by telephone.
I agree. Face to face, each could be more responsive and sensitive to each other.
No, that's not what I meant. I think that Arthur should send Barbara a written memo with all the information that he has. They both need a permanent, accurate record. Then Barbara can sit down calmly and objectively and study the reasons for the change.
But that takes a lot of time, both to write and then to read. And in this situation, time was limited.
What if she's got some questions? This seems to be a very emotional issue. There can't be any two-way communication going on if she's just reading something. Now, I cast my vote for them meeting with each other.
Don't be too sure.
Now remember, all three choices can be effective. But let's take another look now and see which is most likely to be successful.
These changes are very important. They should have been made by now.
I know that, but my people are resisting. How many times do I have to tell you? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to fly off the handle like that.
It takes two, you know. I didn't mean to come on so strong. It's just that I've been under so much pressure to get this new workflow operation going. You got a lot of stress, too. You want to talk about it?
My people think that I'm pushing too many changes on them too fast. And they're right. My department has a lot of problems. Problems I don't think you took into consideration.
Well, why haven't you mentioned this before?
When did I ever have the opportunity?
You got a point. Let's see if we can't talk about it now.
The correct answer then is B, that they should meet face-to-face. Putting something in writing can help you be more accurate and thorough. Using a telephone at the right time can be valuable too. In fact, sometimes due to distance, written correspondence and telephoning are the only alternatives. But when feelings become as important as the information to be communicated, the best method to use is for the people to meet face-to-face. You can give and get instant feedback because you can see them. You can watch them, and they can do the same with you.
Then, if people would just stop to think first about which method or combination of methods was best for a particular situation, there'd be fewer communication foul-ups?
Absolutely. Anybody else? All right, if you pick B, give yourself 20 points. Our next episode takes us to a busy office where Barbara is an office manager and Charles is a copying machine serviceman. Now here we're going to see a different type of communication breakdown, one in which language as well as machinery play an important part.
This is horrible. You're kidding.
That's the best I can do.
That's not good enough.
Well, I told you it was an old machine.
You told me you could get it back in working condition.
I did.
You call that working condition?
I sure do.
I'm not paying for this.
Well, we seem to have another breakdown in communication. Obviously, there's been a misunderstanding. What do you think Barbara or Charles should do to prevent this from happening again? A. Try to use words that are not open to different interpretations. Be specific. B. Get feedback. Ask questions to find out if there's been mutual understanding. And C. Be more open. Explain your needs and intentions. All right, make your choices. Let's see your choices.
I think that if Charles had been more open, he'd have told her about some of the problems that people have with older machines.
But if she'd asked him some questions and gotten some feedback, she'd have found out herself.
What kind of questions?
Questions that would draw out the information that's needed, like, after you fix it, what kind of quality can I expect to get? Or, how will it differ from when it was new?
But he said he could put it in working condition. Now, didn't he?
Tell me, Lucia, what do the words working condition mean to you?
Make readable copies. What else?
Not to me, it doesn't. Take it as is and don't expect too much.
Henry?
Working condition means it isn't broken.
What does all this mean anyway?
It means that if either one of them had been more specific and used words that weren't open to a lot of different interpretations, there would have been less risk of a misunderstanding.
It's almost impossible for people to use words that have just the same meanings to others. Why? Because of our different backgrounds, experiences, and occupations.
Okay, that's good. Let's take a look now and see which is the best choice.
Well, it's an old machine, but I can put it back in working condition.
Working condition?
Well, it won't be the best, but it'll operate.
Will I at least be able to get good, clear copies?
Most of the time.
I don't understand. Why not all the time?
Well, this model uses the old toner, and it could smudge when the machine gets hot.
So, in other words, you're saying that even after you repair it, I may not be able to get new quality copies when the machine gets hot?
Well, how many times do you use it during the day?
Almost continuously.
Then I recommend not wasting your money. Get a new machine.
The correct choice then is B. Get feedback. Ask questions to make sure you've been understood. The other two choices, being open and trying to be more specific, will certainly lead to better communication. But by getting feedback, by asking questions and having others restate to you in their own words what you said, you get a chance to find out what you may have failed to communicate or what may require further clarification. So if you pick B, give yourself 20 points. Oh, Henry, those free lunches are slipping through your fingers. The scene now changes to Barbara's private office, where she's conducting a semi-annual performance appraisal. Now keep in mind, Barbara has already organized her thoughts, she's speaking with Arthur face-to-face, and she's well aware of the importance of feedback. But still, communication breaks down. Why?
As I said, the last report you turned in was very thorough and quite valuable to everyone.
Thanks. I worked very hard on it.
It shows, too. We have covered a lot this afternoon, and except for a few areas, I think you've done a very good job these last 6 months. But now we need to see what we can do to help you manage your time. Is there anything I can do to help you get your reports in on time?
No, nothing I can think of. I'll just try harder.
Can you tell me how?
Well, I'll start the reports earlier.
That sounds like a good idea. How much more time do you think you'll need?
I don't know. It depends on the report, my workload, and just lots of things.
Of course. Well, then I'll expect your inventory level report by next Tuesday?
Sure. I'll do the best I can.
I wouldn't want to bet she gets that report on time. Barbara's overlooking a key factor in the communication process. What should she have been more aware of in this situation? A. Barbara should have given Arthur more of an opportunity to talk. B. Barbara Barbara should have known that when people are criticized, they tend to become defensive, hold back, and cut off open communication. C. Barbara should have been aware of Arthur's body language, that he was telling her non-verbally how he really felt. Which do you think is the best choice? Time's up. Let's see your choices. Lucille, why did you pick A?
I think that one of the biggest problems with most people in authority is that they don't give others a chance to express themselves.
Often that's true, but in this case, Barbara tried to get Arthur to open up. It just didn't happen.
Well, it didn't happen because Arthur has trouble accepting criticism and became defensive.
I agree. I don't think Barbara was sensitive to Arthur's feelings at all.
Henry, Nick agrees with you.
You mean I get some points?
Well, let's find out. Let's take another look and see what